In one of the fiercest political showdowns since the 2024 elections, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula has come out swinging, calling former President Jacob Zuma a sellout of note. The reason? Zuma's MK party has thrown its support behind Morocco in the decades-long dispute over Western Sahara. And for many, that's not just a diplomatic blunder, it's a full-blown betrayal of South Africa's liberation values. Mbalula isn't mincing words. He says Zuma's actions spit in the face of everything we once stood for. He's warning South Africans not to be fooled by the myth of Zuma as a revolutionary, but to see what he calls the truth, a man protecting himself, and now protecting foreign interests too. Tonight, we dig deep. Why is MK backing Morocco? What does this mean for South Africa's foreign policy, for the ANC, and for Zuma's already controversial legacy? This is more than just a war of words. It's a war over history, loyalty, and the future of the struggle itself. Let's get into it. In a blistering political rebuke that's shaking South Africa's already volatile post-election landscape, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula has launched a scathing attack on former President Jacob Zuma and the newly formed MK party, accusing them of betraying the very ideals they claim to uphold. The spark that ignited this storm. The MK party's controversial stance backing Morocco in its long-standing conflict over Western Sahara, an act Mbalula has branded a blatant departure from South Africa's historic foreign policy of supporting oppressed peoples and decolonization across Africa. Mbalula's remarks, delivered with fire and clarity, were not just a foreign policy critique. They were a thunderous warning, recasting Zuma not as a freedom fighter, but as a political opportunist who, in Mbalula's view, has sold out the African liberation cause for foreign gain. Zuma, he charged, is no messiah, but rather a sellout of note, leading a party increasingly seen as destabilizing and driven by personal agendas. The controversy began when the MK party publicly signaled support for Morocco, a nation long accused of denying independence to the Sahrawi people of Western Sahara. This move flies in the face of South Africa's steadfast backing of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, SAD, a position rooted in the ANC's liberation ethos. Since 1994, South Africa has held that Western Sahara deserves full sovereignty, aligned with African Union and UN principles. MK's deviation from that principle sparked outrage in ANC and diplomatic circles alike. Mbalula seized the moment. His statement accusing Zuma of betrayal was not only politically calculated but ideologically loaded. For Mbalula, this wasn't just a diplomatic error, it was an exposure of MK's moral compass. Zuma's support for Morocco, he argued, betrays both the Sahrawi people and South Africa's liberation legacy. This man is no messiah, Mbalula declared. He claims to fight for the people while siding with those who suppress them. How can you stand for African liberation when you align with Morocco? That's a betrayal of the Sahrawi and the soul of our struggle. As clips of Mbalula's comments went viral, reactions on social media exploded. MK party supporters dismissed the remarks as political theater. Some accused the ANC of trying to deflect from its own issues. But others, especially those loyal to Pan-Africanist principles, were troubled. How could a party evoking the legacy of we align with a regime seen by many as colonial? Zuma remained dismissive of the backlash. Known for his anti-West rhetoric and outsider appeal, he brushed off the criticism. But this time, the opposition wasn't coming from foreign capitals, it was coming from within the heart of the liberation movement. For Mbalula, the implications go far beyond politics. Zuma's stance, he warned, undermines South Africa's foreign policy credibility and its democratic moral compass. This is not just about foreign policy, Mbalula stressed. It's about who we are. Do we abandon the oppressed when it's politically convenient? Zuma is asking us to betray our values. And we will not follow him. Though the MK party hasn't issued a formal diplomatic policy, pro-Moroccan narratives shared by its affiliates and vague diplomatic outreach to Rabat haven't gone unnoticed. For many observers, this signals a dangerous drift toward transactional politics, at odds with South Africa's non-aligned and principled approach. Domestically, the issue has added fuel to an already tense environment. The ANC, still reeling from losing its outright majority in the 2024 elections, is fighting to protect both its authority and its moral legacy. For Mbalula, painting Zuma as a threat to those values is both a defensive and offensive move. The MK party's surprising electoral gains, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, have made it a serious force. Discrediting it now is key to the ANC's survival. Yet Zuma's popularity remains resilient. His appeal to those disillusioned with the post-apartheid dream is powerful. He embodies, for many, defiance against a political system that's failed to deliver. Mbalula knows this. That's why his message went beyond foreign policy, targeting the myth of Zuma himself. Don't be fooled, Mbalula warned. He is not what he says. He is protecting himself, and now protecting foreign interests too. The deeper concern is what this shift could mean internationally. Aligning with Morocco might damage South Africa's decades-long alliance with Algeria, a key African Union player and backer of Western Sahara's independence. Such a move could isolate Pretoria, undercut its moral authority, and damage its standing on the continent. Mbalula's warning is stark: Zuma and the MK party are not simply challenges to ANC power. They are, in his eyes, challenges to South Africa's identity. And Zuma's attempt to rebrand himself as a revolutionary is nothing more than a revisionist ploy. Zuma's political comeback via MK is, in many ways, an effort to rewrite a legacy tainted by scandal, corruption, and economic mismanagement. But Mbalula and the ANC are determined to prevent that rewrite. They see MK's rhetoric as populist, militarized, and increasingly out of step with the values that define South Africa's liberation era. The lines are now sharply drawn. This is no longer just a political contest, it's a war of narratives. Zuma's stance on Morocco may seem like a minor detail to some, but for Mbalula, it exposes something bigger: a betrayal of principle, solidarity, and the vision of what post-apartheid South Africa was meant to be. As the ANC adjusts to the reality of coalition politics and a shifting national mood, Mbalula is staking the party's future on a return to values. His strategy is clear: expose ideological hypocrisy, reclaim the moral high ground, and present Zuma as a cautionary tale, not a savior. Whether that strategy works is still uncertain. But one thing is, the ANC will not let Zuma's version of history go unchallenged. For Mbalula, this is not just a political moment, it's a battle for the soul of the struggle itself.